Brings it up, gets it to go. It is released with the high arc against Raba. The next 2, possibly 3 games. A trap. Look at this. Castro takes it away, and it goes in. Look at this tackle. LA, huling-huli ni Yuri. And they pitch it out to Raba. Wallstrom in the ballgame for the first time. Saves it when it goes to Raba Al-Husseini, who picks up scraps. What hustle there by Raba. There's two. Jai setting up Ryan. Ryan, the fake. Back to Jai. Top of the circle three. Gets it to go! And the extra pass from Ryan.
A dominant performance.
Run against JV. Slows down. Sets up Raba. Short. And the tap going back to Raba. Raba puts it up and in! There's a lot of time. Whoops! Zipping a pass to Chris Chu. Raba from the elbow. Gets it to go! He is on fire. Barajas drives hard. Still no go. JV against a triple. It is 60. Nicolmar Hofer attacks and is denied by Baclao. Bigger than this one. This denial right there. On the ball. C2 cool and clean. Rock cool plus clean. Forcing the traveling infraction.
Eagles draw first blood. Purpose. Urgency. Determination. Resolve. On the brink of greatness. Down, but not out. Game 2.
Well, will it be a coronation for the Ateneo Blue Eagles, or will the De La Salle Green Archers show the heart of a champion and live to fight another day? It is a battle between purpose and urgency. The side of blue ready to take it all today. Can they finish off their opponents? That's a good question. For the side of the De La Salle Green Archers, can they come back and force a winner-take-all match? Game number 3. Welcome to game number 2 of the finals of the 71st season of the UAAP Men's Basketball Tournament. For some, it is an initiation. For others, it is a coming of age. And for the rest, it is a culmination of a memorable collegiate career. DLSU, ADMU, one more time here at the Araneta Coliseum. And we are happy to have you with us live over Studio 23 for ABS-CBN Sports. Ruben Gonzalez together with DJ Manotok. People watching us on ANC Global and TFC Now. Mabuhay kayo, Pilipino. Salamat sa inyong panonood. Well, you know, TJ, game number 2 with Ateneo with a 1-0 lead. We all know 2 things. 1, La Salle is gonna come out swinging. Will Ateneo be ready for that? Number 2, we know in any sport, as we said in game number 1, the clincher game is the toughest one.
Absolutely, and you know, without a doubt, everybody concedes. Even I'm sure the Ateneo Blue Eagles themselves will concede. The pressure is on them right now. Everybody, or at least a lot of people, are expecting them to wrap it up today, because if they want to wrap it up, this is the best day to do it. You don't want to go into a game 3 wherein anything can happen.
Exactly.
And for La Salle today, you know, the mindset that they have to keep in mind is there is no pressure on them whatsoever. Everybody's eyes are on Ateneo to close it out. So with that in mind, they should play a little looser than they did in game 1. We saw La Salle a little bit tight, especially offensively in game number 1. And for their sake, for LaSalle's fans, they're hoping to have a looser and even
Yes.
more confident LaSalle
Yes.
Green Archers on the court today.
And those are questions and scenarios that we will find out coming into Game 2 of this much talked about, much ballyhooed finals of the UAAP. Let's talk about Game 1 quickly, TJ. For those who did not know, maybe living under the rock, Ateneo took game number 1 and took it emphatically. This guy on your screens, now the new MVP of the UAAP, dominating performance, and as they say, he took some names while he was at it too, TJ.
He was on the ball from, not exactly from the beginning of the game, because as we were saying, the first 5-8 minutes, he was pretty cold and pretty nervous. 1 out of 5 in the first quarter, but then Rabah Al Husseini turned on the Jets, and boy, did he help Ateneo build up on that lead. 69-61 was the final score. Key statistics there, Ateneo's field goal shooting above 40%,
Yes.
and an amazing defensive effort by the Eagles, holding down LaSalle to less than 30%, only at 28.6%. And of course, on an individual note, 31 out of the 69 points came from Rabah Al Husseini on 14 for 26 shooting from the field.
And we will talk more about the new most valuable player of the UAAP. We're talking about Rabah Al Husseini after we take a break here at game number 2 of the final. Stay with us, please.
Game 2.
Back here at the live and exclusive coverage of the 71st season of the UAAP on Studio 23. It is game number 2 of the finals. We focus our attention on the winner of game number 1. This time, we talked about him briefly earlier, the new MVP of the season, Rabah Al Husseini. Let's break down his performance because he did not start off well in game number 1. He looked tight, he looked a bit jittery, but he did recover.
Absolutely. You could see it in his face. You could see it in his shots and his follow through, in the way he was even bobbling the ball when he tried to catch it. I mean, that looked like the Rabah Al Husseini of his freshman year. But nonetheless, he was able to pick it up and gain a head of steam going into the second half. In the first quarter, he only scored 4 points. 2 of those 4 was a gimme. It was a wide open layup because he was left all alone on an offensive rebound that bounced far out and was dropped into him inside by Ryan Buenafe. And then he had 2 more free throws to add to that. So basically his first quarter was really cold and not the Rabah that we've been seeing in the whole season 71. But in the second quarter, he began to pick up his game. 7 points in the second. And then in the third quarter, he picked it up coming out of the gates hot in the second half, 12 points, and then another 8 points in the fourth quarter to finish off the second half with 20 big points. And 20 points is already big for Rabah in one game.
That's right.
He did that in just 20 minutes.
The scary part about this, and you mentioned this in game number 1, is that Ateneo won game number 1 even if they did not play, what they would call perfect Ateneo basketball. They had the most number of turnovers this season in the finals in game number 1.
And that was the nightmare for Coach Norman Black at the half. Well, probably even before that, around the first quarter, he already saw it piling up. Ateneo, believe it or not, had 8 turnovers in that first 10 minutes alone. And this is a team that is the number 1 team in taking care of that ball. In the eliminations, adding up to their averages in the Final 4 even, they are a league best 15.5 turnovers a game only. But in game number 1, thanks to their horrible performance in the first half, in terms of getting a combined 15 turnovers, they finished with 23, and that is their season high, and that is something that Coach Norman Black was really unhappy about. He mentioned after the game that they didn't do a decent job in terms of breaking the press of LaSalle, and a lot of their turnovers came from that press of LaSalle, in which LaSalle was throwing at it from all angles, a 2-2-1 zone full court press, a man-to-man full court press, and all the different presses that Coach Franz Warren had in his arsenal. He threw it at them, and luckily for Ateneo, they survived it in the second half, and more importantly, in that fourth quarter.
Survived the 23 turnovers to be exact by only committing 1 in that fourth quarter. Now we shift our attention to the team that has their backs against the wall. When we come back, we'll talk about LaSalle. Live and exclusive courtesy of ABS-CBN Sports here on Studio 23, Game 2 of the finals between Ateneo and De La Salle. De La Salle, as we talked about them, TJ, in game number 1, had to get support from the bench. Obviously, they are the number 1 bench scoring team, but part of that bench, of course, is Rico Meyerhofer. JV Casio scored, Rico scored, they tried at least. They were held down to 28% shooting, and then, of course, the 2 fouls on Mangajas was a factor, and then Barua and then Bader Malabes nowhere to be found.
Absolutely. I mean, you can even call a technicality and say Rico Meyerhofer started that game because after just barely 3 minutes was when Mangajas got his second foul and Meyerhofer had to come in very, very early. Normally he comes in at the end of the first quarter, but looking at the distribution of the points of LaSalle, you know, Casio, as he did, struggled 8 for 24 from the field. He did have 20 points in that ball game. Rico Meyerhofer, his usual 17 points also, but the rest of the team only 24 points from everybody else. And this is a team, as you said, number one bench scoring team, averaging 39 points a ball game from their bench.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to go with the technicality that Meyerhofer was a starter, you take out that 17 and you only got 24 or probably even less because some of that 24 included some of the other starters. So the balance of the offense of Coach Franz Marin, his rotation was really kind of screwed up a bit because of the way Mangaas had to exit early. He didn't even come back in the second quarter, even though he could. He only had 2 fouls.
Yes.
And he came back late in the third, and it was a little bit cold, but still was difficult for them to get their rhythm. And because of that, it was not the usual LaSalle basketball that you see. It's not the usual rhythm. LaSalle runs a very strict system, and they like structure. And we didn't see structure in LaSalle pretty much from what we're used to seeing them the whole time.
We will see the numbers of the bench right now, but I would like to go back to that point. As we said, you know, one of the indicators, PJ Barua, they are 8-0 when he scores 9 or more, and he only had 6 points. Those are one of the few instances that PJ Barua was able to score, and the rest is the same story. Bader Malabes had a 4-point streak, if you remember,
Right.
one long shot and then that other goal stab, and then that's it.
Right, exactly. So they came in spurts, but that's okay if they come in spurts, but I think there were too little spurts from their, from the role players, from the guys who normally have been stepping up. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen Malabes step up, we've seen Barua step up and lead them to wins. It just didn't happen in game number 1. Looking at their bench scoring, averaging 39 a ball game. In the final 4, 35 points a ball game. But in game 1, only 28. So give or take, you lost 11 and 12 points from the bench, and you lost by 7 points. So there you go. That's pretty much a spread of the ball game in game 1.
And again, as we take a break, 4 players average in double figures in all of their wins. Those 4 players that we talked about together with Mangaas and Barua. We will talk about the imperatives for both teams when we come back here on Studio 23. Stay with us, please. Again, we're back here at the Araneta Coliseum. Game 2 of the best of 3 finals between Ateneo and LaSalle as they are gathered at center court. Let's now usher in our guests. DJ, we had them in game number 1 to talk about the imperatives for their respective teams to win in game number 2. We are joined again by Business Mirror sports columnist Rick Olivares and his thoughts. Rick, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Boom TJ. It's nice to be back over here. LaSalle would like to extend this series, but Ateneo would like to end it today. And for Ateneo to end it, they got to do 3 things. First of all is to focus. A lot of them received awards today, and that might be a factor in distracting them. They cannot get caught up in the enormity of this situation. They have to execute their game plan to perfection. The second point would be to handle the pressure defense of LaSalle. As we saw in the last game, LaSalle was not only pressing them, but was bumping them every step of the way, forcing the Blue Eagle guards to pick up their dribble and pass off. And LaSalle's Rovers would try to pick off all those passes. Now, the solution there was to have the tall men like Donay Baclao receive the ball. It was a tactic in 2002 that they used to have the big men help bring down the ball. Ateneo must keep that up. The third would be to seek more scoring options for the Blue Eagles. In their 3 victories against LaSalle this season, they had 3 players always in double figures. They would like to keep that up, but more than that, they would like to get Chris Chu and Eric Salamat involved in the offense. By the same token, they should limit LaSalle. In the 3 losses of LaSalle, only 1 or 2 players scored in double digits. They'd like to continue to suppress all that scoring by LaSalle. Boom, TJ.
Thank you very much, Rick Olivares from the Ateneo side. Let's go to the other side because we want to be fair as always. And of course, Senator Freddie Webb joined us in game number 1, joins us again for game number 2. Senator.
Well, it's 3-0 in favor of Ateneo in this season, but then again, make that part of history. But LaSalle should learn from it. What they have to do is to make sure that anyone who tries to drive in should have single coverage. There's not going to be any inside help. Because the moment there's an inside help, it's Rabah Husseini who's underneath the basket, gets the basketball, and usually scores. Now, again, I might sound like a broken record, but then again, I've been saying that every time Ateneo brings the ball down, their first option is to give it to Rabah Al-Husseini. So whoever is passing the ball, make sure that you cover the inside play of Ateneo. Having said that, Where was the animal LaSalle spirit in the last game? There wasn't even a shadow of it. You know, it was a yawny game as far as I'm concerned. I almost fell asleep. Not because Ateneo won, because I think LaSalle can play a better game. They have to come out there as champions. They are the defending champions. They have to act, play, eat, and do everything possible to show that they are champions. Last but not least, you know, Franz Pumaran is one of the best coaches here in the UAAP. I'm sure he has made the adjustments offensively. The house is not on fire. There may be some things wrong with the house. It could be the plumbing, it could even be the floor. But then again, minor repairs have got to be done. Let me tell you, this could be the afternoon for LaSalle. It's about time that they should win. They don't want to end this series with a 4-0, man. You might as well go back to where you came from. They're going to be out here fighting, and I know this is going to be a very close game.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. Senator Freddie Webb, Coach Franz Pumaran, the popular handyman around the UAAP, will have this matchup. Game number 2, right and ready for you here at the Araneta Coliseum when we come back after a short break. Keep on watching Studio 23.
Ladies and gentlemen, the UAAP and ABS-CBN Sports present Episode 4 of the greatest rivalry ever in Philippine sports. Welcome to game number 2 of the best of 3 series in your season 71 UAAP, the finals. First, the starting 5 of the quintet trying to stay alive and send the championship series to a deciding rubber match this Sunday. Here's the reigning, defending UAAP champions, the De La Salle Green Archers. At forward, number 8, Bater Malabes. Power forward, number 19, James Maras. Center, number 15, Ferdinand. Point guard, number 7, Simon Atkins. And at shooting guard, a member of the mythical 5, number 6, J.B. Casio. The head coach of the Green Archers, Franz Pumaran. And now, celebrating its sesquicentennial 150th anniversary next year, here's the squad gunning for their second crown in 6 years today, the Ateneo de Manila Blue Eagles. At forward, a member of the all-rookie team and the rookie of the year. At forward, Ryan Buenafit. Power forward, number 16, Mike Baldos. At center, number 19, the MVP, Rama El Husseini. Point guard, number 5, the Dynamite, Jai Reyes. And at shooting guard, number 17, a member
Production of the starting 5, your Clearman starting 5 on your screens. Things to remember. 2006, Ateneo was ahead 1-0 against the UST Growling Tigers, and they lost that series still as UST came back, so it is possible. Although the Game 1 winner has gone on to win the title 10 out of 14 times, and 7 out of those 14 times, that Game 1 winner went on to sweep the series.
Absolutely. And out of those 4 times that the team that lost Game 1 to come back, 3 times was UST and 1 was LaSalle.
Only 4 out of 14 times have teams lost Game 1 have gone on to win the title, as DJ just mentioned. And here we go. Game number 2 of the finals between Ateneo and LaSalle. It's on your way. Malabes free from the 14-footer. And they draw first blood here in game number 2. We're happy to have you with us. Go ahead, DJ.
But you saw that play develop, nice patience, nice spacing for LaSalle, and they wanted to go to Ferdinand at the post. He sealed off against Rafa Aluseni, but there was just so much pressure on the ball that Malabis couldn't make the pass. Quick foul here called on Chris Chu, similar to the fouls that he was called on in game 1, pushing off against the sticky defense on him this time. It was Simon Atkins who was all over Chris Chu.
And Chris Chu not really contributing a lot in game number 1. We'll talk more about that, but he doesn't mind because they came up with a win. Let's go first to Sharon Yu from DLSU. Sharon, go ahead.
I'm telling you, the season begins today. Now on to our defensive plays. When our target player gets the ball, the rest should continue moving and not give screens. In short, don't just stand there and watch. Move. Now, apart from the technical reminders, Boom, it was also said at the dugout that right now, it's the heart greater than the skill, passion alongside presence, the extra effort to execute the coach's strategies to make us pull away today. So to all Italians watching, together with the team, Lim Eng Beng, Congressman Pentavella, and Brother Armin, we say, surrender, no way, Boom.
Samson courtside update courtesy of Sharon Yu. As we mentioned, LaSalle is going to come out swinging. No tomorrow for them. And boy, the slamma jamma by Ferdinand off the second turnover of Ateneo already. Almost the third. It is the third. It is officially the third turnover.
LaSalle's defense here in the start of the game is awesome. Denying the passing lanes, denying the post entry pass to Rafa Aluseni, even the passes at the top of the key, which was stolen by Ferdinand and brought all the way home for a flush.
Courtesy of our Petron fast break, Petron extra unleaded extra mile play. He was warned for that though by the referee right now.
So you're not allowed to taunt the players. You're also not allowed to taunt the crowd, apparently.
You know, emotions are very high, obviously, here in this setting of game number 2 of the finals. As we bring in Cami De Jesus this time from the Ateneo side. Go ahead.
Forget about the wins over the elimination rounds. Forget about the win last Sunday. Forget about the awards earlier, because today is about putting a halt to the doubt and winning the championships for season 71. During the last week, the Blue Eagles were put in a closed-door training to emphasize the focus the team needs for today's game. Coach Norman just emphasized 2 salient points, 2 A's actually: anticipate and adjust to the needs of the game, and anticipate what the opponents are setting up. Boom, I'm sure everyone's just curious about the black shirts with the number 24. It's the Blue Eagles' way of showing the entire world how proud they are of their very own coach, Norman Black,
who is looking for his very first title for Ateneo. He came in as a consultant. Sandy Arispaguchaga was coaching, took over the next year, brought the team to the finals, but failed against USD. Now they have the foot wedged into that door, but it's not over, especially with a team like LaSalle who has made winning championships a habit here in the UAAP.
And if there's any team who knows how to win with their backs against the wall, it's the LaSalle Green Archers.
8 minutes to play here in the first. Here comes that press once again, and they break it easily courtesy of Baldos. And a 4th turnover for Ateneo.
Really bad lead pass there by Chris Chu, way ahead of Ryan Buenafe. Even if Buenafe sprinted with all his might, he would not get anywhere near that pass. And Ateneo, they're breaking it at past half court. That's a good step 1 for Ateneo. But once they get there, LaSalle's defense continues on with the pressure, denying the ball.
Coach Norman Black is complaining that Coach Franz Romanet is already
on the floor talking to his players.
This is actually the biggest lead of DLSU in the finals. Previous was the 29-26 second quarter lead in game 1. Go ahead.
This is a factor. I can understand Coach Norman's point, because with this crowd and with this noise, it's so hard to communicate with your players on the floor. If you're going to follow the rules of staying behind that sideline. But if you get to go on the court, of course, you can just whisper or shout right into their ears. It's much more easy to communicate. So I guess Coach Norman is complaining, what do we have the sidelines for if they're not going to be followed? And there's a technical foul here called. We're trying to figure out.
On Ryan Buenafe.
On Buenafe.
Apparently, yes.
All right. We're complaining? Well, he didn't do anything in sports tonight, so I guess it's complaining on the last couple of plays.
And that is a personal foul, just in case you're wondering, as J.V. Castro puts his name on the board with those 2 free throws. So under 8 minutes to play, this is a very noisy at the Coliseum. Full of emotion, full of drama, and a foul called on Anatolia. And Coach Norman, through his ID, he is irate.
That is the second personal foul on Rabah Al-Husseini, away from the ball. The first one, apparently we thought that foul was on Chris Chu in that first play of the game.
Our apologies. So
It wasn't Rabah. As an offensive foul at the post now, sealing off defensively, battling at the post, he was called for his second quick foul.
So the MVP will have to ride the bench for this whole of first half, because that's what Coach Norman does, unless he changes his system here in game number 2. So Nome Bacau has come on with 7:30 to play. So much has happened already in the first couple of minutes here in game number 2. Buenafe, the Rookie of the Year. Jai loses it. 7 on the 24. Ateneo recovers. Baclau puts up the 3 and he gets it to go.
No real need to panic there with 7 seconds still on the shot clock, but Nome Baclau, hey, he's hit a couple of those before.
Yep, he's hit 3. Well, actually, he's hit 2. So he is 3 out of 4 from that area. Atkins puts it in. Simon Atkins able to get it up and in.
And immediately in the face of Chris Chu with a wry smile.
You know, a lot of the LaSallians in game number 1, when I talked to after that finals game, DJ, commented on the lack of swagger that they had. It doesn't have to be a taunting kind of swagger, but the lack of swagger that is characteristic of a LaSalle team all these years. As we look at this Accenture high-performance shot, high-performance delivered. What is your take on that comment?
And that's pretty much what what Senator Freddie Webb said. They lack the animal spirit.
Okay.
And yeah, we saw that. We saw that lacking in them. I mean, you know, LaSalle has the championship experience, but not only did they not show that, they didn't show the championship heart in game number 1. Here, in the first 3.5 minutes so far, we're seeing the championship heart from LaSalle.
Let's see if they can sustain it, as Malabes was bumped. No foul called, and it will be LaSalle ball still with 6:31 remaining and 11 seconds on their shot clock. The score is 8-5. The Rookie of the Year on your screens. No sign of jitters from that guy from the opening buzzer of game number 1 for Ryan Buenafe. Malabes gets away, tries to drive, denied, sends it out to Mangas. They have 6 on the 24. Mangas puts it on the floor, twirls, loses the possession, and it will be a Ateneo ball.
That's the good trademark of Ateneo this year. They got to anchor in that if they want to get some things rolling here at the beginning of this game.
Jai, the double handoff, ends up with Chris Chu. Chris Chu off the glass. Oh, that's high. And that's a turnover.
Tough shot there for Chris in duress, with Ferdinand coming right at him to show some pressure defense.
2 points only for Chris Chu, as 1 of 5 from the field. Didn't play that much as we look at this PS Bank assist. PS Bank, Maasan, 19 minutes sparingly was spread out all throughout that game, but again, he doesn't mind with that kind of a win that Ateneo pulled off. A defensive win in game number 1. Let's see what character comes out today. Atkins had a 3 earlier, turns the ball over. De La Salle. 5:48 remaining, 8-5 is the score. 5 turnovers for Ateneo. That is the first on LaSalle as we go into a Samsung timeout with Samsung Imagination Lives. We're back with you here at the historic Araneta Coliseum. The matchup, the Samsung matchup. Well, we always love when Nonoy and Rico meet each other in any setting, whether it's finals or not. Today, Rico is not yet on the floor, as Ferdinand is still on the floor. Let me correct myself, by the way. The LSU with 2 turnovers was Ateneo with 4 turnovers so far in this game. A few things to think about, DJ. DLSU undefeated this season on Thursday games. They are 5-0, and the only loss of Ateneo this season was against FEU. That was a Thursday game here at the Araneta Coliseum.
Thursday games, huh? Well, Ateneo's hoping it's a Jew day.
All our junkies are researching for us, making it more entertaining for everybody watching us on Studio 23, on My Sky Channel 33 for the replays, AMC Global, TFC Now, all over the Philippines. And thank you very much for checking us out as Mangas was stopped in that sequence. Chris Chu maneuvering, spinning, and rejected by Ferdinand. An emphatic stoppage by Ferdinand. Here comes Casio. puts it up to Malabes for a three. Rattles out. Ferdinand keeping it alive, and it's picked up by Nonoy Baclao.
Well, whatever you say, Boom, everybody from LaSalle had always been saying Ferdinand has to be a factor in the finals and in the Final Four. So far, a big dunk and a big block, he's making his presence felt.
We just passed our Gatorade halfway point of the quarter. Rehydrate, replenish, and refuel with Gatorade. Baclao. And another turnover, the fifth for Ateneo. JV again. Stopped by Chris Chu. That's a great steal by Chris Chu, number 5 in that department here in the UAAP. Buenavent puts it up and in and gives Ferdinand the major stare down.
The guy with the least hang time, the least jumping ability in the Ateneo team has some hang time here. All of 6 inches off the floor, and he got it to go.
And what am I saying again? This guy has not shown any kind of jitters. He is overflowing with confidence, but first and head and shoulders crucial stop. His mind definitely on the game, not Dandruff, but head and shoulders stop Dandruff from coming back. And then the finish, the extension, the hang time. He is able to put it in.
Being 3 feet below the rim. The hang time barely off the floor.
Warning.
Boy, it's a very volatile situation here, TJ. Very testy so far for both teams, for both sides of the Araneta Coliseum.
For second motion.
Malabes called for second motion, and the fans definitely getting into it right now, TJ.
It is much more intense game of start than we had in game number 1. Much more.
The Rookie of the Year. Now on the line for free throws. Does not complete the three-point play. The rookie Maui Villanueva able to pluck down the rebound. Jai Reyes called for the foul, and every foul, every turnover is cheered on by the different sides, the two sides here at the Araneta Coliseum, and it's magnified 100 times today.
Not a good foul for Jai Reyes because he is the one tasked to hound JV Casio. He's got to contain his fouls, if ever, to get them up against JV Casio and not ticky-tacky fouls.